Hello, everyone. I am Sophia Ring, SP Saturn the 7th, and you are watching Anime Egotists. Enjoy!
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where there's no budget for our Super or Owl commercial.
Nope, no, not at all.
Yeah, it's a lot of explosions, and only two of them being the good kind.
Yeah, it's just the first of the generic explosion CGI'd in.
Yes. My name's Alex, and even though I'm a tortured sports fan, they still have me, which they probably should stop now.
And I'm Richard. Same. It's been so long.
Yes. Yes, and we are back. And a couple weeks ago, we did a video talking about how some of our favorite characters have done some pretty bad stuff.
Yeah, but this time we're somehow doing the opposite.
Yes, so we figured, as bad as it is to see some of our favorite characters do some morally questionable stuff, isn't there a chance that there are characters that we dislike or even hate that go, hey, they did something pretty cool?
Yeah, and so it gives us a chance to, I guess, give props when they're due to even characters we don't like.
Yeah, trust me, we're gonna be good. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through the video where we talk about some of the best things done by anime characters that we don't particularly care for. Would you like to start us off?
Sure, I can. So I put Ichiya brings the Christina in to save Fairy Tail in Fairy Tail. So
Okay.
I've talked about Ichiya before. He's this like 2 foot character that's got like the over exaggerated male head with like the
Man.
square chin. Yeah, he says, well, in the kind of final arc of the original story, he brings in Blue Pegasus's flying warship called the Christina and blocks a big attack that was going to destroy Fairy Tail. Kind of seemingly sacrificing himself, not really, but he kind of comes in and saves the day. So I got to give him props. He comes in, big heroic moment. It gives him, who's one of the main characters from a secondary guild, a chance to shine and kind of proves that he's not really useless like everybody kind of feels he is up until this point. So I'll give him props for this one. And it's a good moment of like, wow, someone you don't like is actually doing a great job of for another guild.
Is there, besides the one episode you told me about that you do not care for involving him, is there another particular reason you're not the biggest fan of him? Or was that episode so bad that you're just like, no, I don't care if you end world hunger, you still suck?
They over exaggerate that he's like this ladies' man. There's he's got like three, he calls them his disciples. They're just like pretty boy playboys. They always wear suits and they um the um Matt and they like hype him up like he's the man, he's the man, he's the man. And then they pose around him and it's kind of reminiscent of Ginyu, but not like as endearing as like because they're just like they're hyping up one person instead of everybody.
Oh, you're not, I don't think you're gonna love Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V, because Silvio's henchmen are kind of like that. But it's at
Okay.
least revealed that deep down they kind of think, yo, this guy's kind of lame sometimes, which I disagree with. I love Silvio, but I
Yeah.
understand what you mean, how that could be frustrating.
Yeah. But just overall, I just dislike Ichiya overall, but he does have like this moment. There's a couple moments where he does stuff, but this one is like the one that stands out in my mind as he goes all out to help save Fairy Tail pretty much. So that's why I put it as my first one on my list.
Yeah, I can understand that. I can co-sign onto that.
Yeah. All right. So your first one?
All right. Sakura visiting Rock Lee with his injuries from Naruto.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I've said before I'm not the biggest Sakura fan, and but I do appreciate that after she and Lee saves her, and she starts to notice that he is a good person, and how after his injuries she is very concerned about him. And as much as I love Naruto, he's busy training, and sometimes even when he means well, he can be a little insensitive. But Sakura's constantly thinking to herself, "Oh, I'll get two flowers." And Ino calls her out, like, "Oh, you're gonna get two to try and impress Sasuke?" She's like, "No, one flower for Sasuke and another flower for Lee." And throughout it she even brings him like a giant bouquet of flowers, and it's just like, "Lee, these are for you." And Lee kind of looks around like, "Me?" And she's just finding ways of making his life easier during this really hard part of it. And she even tells him, "Hey, if you ever need anything, please know you can reach out to me." Like, it's a good sign of how their dynamic has changed from the first episode where he's like, "Please see my girlfriend." She's like, "No, because you look weird." But after everything they've been through, it's nice to see that Sakura can appreciate Rock Lee.
Yeah, and it's nice because they really haven't known each other very long at this point. It's because this is during the like 2 month training gap, right? Before the end of the Chunin exams.
Right.
So they're kind of learning. It's just kind of a nice little side point because you get need time for other characters to do stuff.
Yeah. Like not the biggest Sakura fan, but when she had her moments where I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can co-sign. I like that moment as well because it's just not. I'm trying to think. So, it's not focusing on Sakura having a romantic relationship. She's trying to be nice to someone who she's legit starting to feel as a friend.
Yeah. Especially because Ten is busy helping Neji train. Neji's training. And as much as Guy wants to help, a lot of his things like, all right, you need to get well as fast as you can. It's a little over the top. As sweet as it is, it's kind of silly. But Sakura's just like that shoulder to cry on. Like, had he broken down in front of her, she would have been there for him.
Yeah, I 100% agree. This was, and it was a lot of growth for Sakura because we've seen her be very selfish up until this point.
Yeah. Yeah, we especially see it when she punches out Naruto for making fun of him when he gets beaten up by the sound guys. Like, hey, you don't make fun of Lee. And Naruto's like, what the heck's going on? I'm like, you're making fun of Rock Lee. I would punch you too if I got the chance. But
Yeah,
Sakura, you had your moment. You don't have that many moments I love you after that, but you were pretty cool being nice to Lee.
yeah. All right. So my next one.
Go ahead.
So this one's just a little moment, but and I really come to not like this character as the story continues. And it's Blackbeard encouraging Luffy and the Straw Hats in One Piece.
Okay.
So this is before we realize that he's going to be the big bad of the series. He's tried to be uh, the uh, yeah, what is it? This is the Skypiea arc. So Blackbeard is kind of encouraging them because a lot of the other pirates who are in this area and are saying that there are no Skypiea and no Sky Islands and all that. And Blackbeard's like, just believe and go for it. It turns out that we've learned since then that this was like right after he betrayed the Whitebeard pirates and started figuring out his stuff. And it was when he also had experience with um, like the Roger pilots going to the Sky Islands. So it's just one of those interesting moments that has been expanded on. But the fact that the main villain of the series has encouraged the main cast to continue is interesting.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see stuff like that. And look, we all know Blackbeard's not a good person, not in the slightest. But it's at least nice to see in the sense that he is like it could be a sense of does he actually want like at that point you're kind of thinking, does he actually want them to get better or is he doing it for his own selfish purposes? It's nice to see different dimensions like that with characters.
Yeah, and again, there's like all sorts of theories that he was originally just a one-off, like he was just going to be the crazy old like former pirate that had failed at this point, but was encouraging them. But then again, you never know with One Piece, so he may have been the bad guy from that moment in Oda's mind. So who knows?
Yeah, yeah. Especially when we first see him and he's just him and Luffy are just sitting next to each other. It's just like, oh, this is just some random dude. Oh no, this guy is going to be important later. And I also kind of hate him for everything he's done.
Yeah, because it only takes a little while longer to make sure that he affects like everything. Like literally, I mean, there's what I think three major arcs before we get to the Annie's Lobby and Marineford arc. So
Yeah, it's I don't want to give Blackbeard too much props because I still want him gone by the end of the series.
yeah, as I said, this is one of those moments where it's a character that at this point, I mean, his design was ugly, but that's who he's supposed to be. But then you don't really know who he is yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I can co-sign though. Him encouraging the Straw Hats, whether they want to admit it or not, probably did push them in the right direction.
Yeah. Uh, so your next one?
Mokuba helps save Taya and Joey from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay.
All right, so when Taya is kid and Mokuba are kidnapped by the rare hunters, Taya sacrifices herself and says, "Mokuba, you get out of here and get help." Oh, and Mokuba is actually encouraging Kaiba to be like, "Hey, Taya helped me escape, so we should help them when Joey and Yugi are going up against each other, and Joey's been brainwashed."
Mhm.
Because of that, that's what kicks Kaiba in motion to be like, "You guys helped me, so I'll help Yuga. You guys helped me and my brother, so I'll help Yuga." As Mokuba gets involved, he saves Taya, and because of all of that they're able to help Serenity, save Joey, and save everybody involved. I do not like Mokuba. Even with my rewatch, I'm like, I find Mokuba incredibly annoying to the point where he's kind of ruining my enjoyment of this series. But him helping them meant a lot because otherwise they might have been screwed.
Yeah, this is kind of a good moment for Mokuba because he's also returning the favor because um we get the moments in the first arc where he was like trying to betray Yugi and all them, but Yugi and his friends still help him try to save Kai, but it doesn't work out because Pegasus kind of cheats and kidnaps Mokuba before they can actually agree to keep him there. But just overall, it's a nice little moment. I can agree.
Yeah. And even when Taya says thanks, he even says, "Oh, I guess we're even," and he doesn't say it in a jerky way. And he does kind of develop because when Kaiba, not Kaiba, when Joey's going up against Merrick, you do see Mokuba actively pulling for Joey. And Kaiba probably disowning him later at that point because like we don't root for Joey in this household. Either root against Joey or sleep on the streets. Your choice.
Yeah, that seems like what Kaiba would do. Oh, I forgot he also is rescued by Yugi and his friends in the second arc where they go in the virtual world.
Yeah, it's not a good sign when you get kidnapped more than Serenity. Serenity actually seemed like she was able to stand on her own 2 feet at times.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, I can see that. That's not even supposed to be a pun because she couldn't see at the time.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But yeah, Mokuba helping out Taya and the others, like him and Kaiba's involvement didn't feel like too much when it was in that 4 episode span. They felt just right.
Yeah. All right. So my next one. Right. So this is mine from Naruto. And I put um Kabuto working slash opening an orphanage for war orphans or all that. So again, we get a lot of his backstory of like where he was an orphan, then turns out that he was being trained kind of to turn into like a black ops ninja and all the betrayal and stuff. That's what leads him to Orochimaru. He becomes kind of this like I don't know how to put it. I guess carbon copy of Orochimaru towards the end of the series when he absorbs Orochimaru, and it kind of throws me off. I liked Kabuto up until that point, but when he starts becoming Orochimaru, it just doesn't make sense. But I like that he has that moment of he got out of Itachi's Genjutsu and then becomes a and decides that you know what I liked my time in the orphanage. I want to give, but I want to make it a real orphanage. So now he works and helps raise kids.
Yeah, he also took the powers of all of the other Sound Five. So, yeah. But I can co-sign. I thought about putting this on my list, but like I do like that Kabuto does have a change of heart, even if it's like 99.99% to do with Itachi and his overpowered genjutsu. Who especially in Boruto, we do see it's like, hey, everybody's people are a little more trusting of him. He's not, he's doing this to kind of repent for the stuff he's done. Like, hey, I was raised horribly and this is how I turned out. So maybe if I could make the kids better, nobody will turn out like me.
Yeah. So yeah, I like this moment because it especially once you've learned his backstory, it kind of comes full circle. He's now a better person and he's wanting to make it like the life he didn't get, he wants to make for everybody else. This
Exactly.
orphanage.
I still don't like him though. Kabuto's not my favorite.
I really liked him in the tuning exams, and like when he was working for Orochimaru, he seemed like a legit threat because he's using medical ninjutsu to like target and actually injure people. It was really an interesting idea.
Yeah. That being said, if I was in the Naruto universe, I would love to learn under the guy because he seems brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, it really is because he seems to know everything.
Yeah. Uh, but I can co-sign him helping out the kids, especially in Boruto, is helpful, whether we see that much of him or not.
Yeah. All right. So your next one?
All right. Nibutani comforts Dekomori. Love Chunibyo.
Okay.
All right, so when Rika moves away and she gives up being Chunibyo, it kind of messes with the group. The group has lost the heart of it, the heart of the gang. The gang has lost the heart. And Dekomori, being Rika's best friend, is distraught over it. And after being told that her Chunibyo tendencies are just a hallucination and they're like she needs to grow up thanks to Yuta, who's super hurt, she's breaking down. She's in tears. She's emotional. Well, and Nibutani just grabs her and hugs her and says, "Hey, it's gonna be okay. I promise. Things are gonna work out. You're gonna be okay." Hey, and these two do not get along. Dekomori is way too over the top and loud, and Nibutani's tries her best to hide her Chunibyo tendencies, and they bicker endlessly. So for Nibutani to be like, "Hey, I see what you're going through, and I'm sorry you're going through it, but you have the rest of us, so you don't have to be strong. You can let out your tears." It was really cool. It was a really cool moment for her.
Yeah, it sounds nice, especially for like kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to uh Chinibio tendencies. I think it's just kind of a nice moment of like, hey, even though we're not necessarily always best for each other or get along great, we can still be there to support each other.
Yeah. And some of you might be wondering, wow, that seems like such a nice thing. So why do you not like Nibutani, Alex? I'm like, well, God, she's a nosy person. Like she gets involved, like everybody's problem she kind of gets involved in, which in some cases you could be thinking, oh, that's really cool having a friend who always has your back. At the same time, though, when she gets involved, she gets kind of whiny, and sometimes it's insufferable. Sometimes I'm just like, can you just not be in this episode, please? You're like, please, just go away for like 4 episodes. We'll be fine. Because there are seriously times I cannot stand her.
Yeah, I can kind of understand that. Is this yeah, when she gets white, do you mean like she starts trying to make it more about herself and whine about that sort
I
of
don't even know
thing?
how if I don't even know how I'd fully describe it because it's like she says, "Well, why don't you just do this or just do that?" And it's like, okay, like I understand in some cases, but it's also not your life. So where do you get off making some of these comments? Especially because some of her friends point out, it's like, "Hey, you're not that experienced in love either. So what the hell are you talking about?" They don't say it in that mean of a tone, but there are times where I'm kind of like, "Huh." If the point of view was that you don't always know what you're talking about, but you try, that's cool. But I don't know. She didn't, her insecurities didn't feel like they were intentionally played up. It just felt more like it was a plot hole.
Okay.
I can't
So
fully describe what it is with her. Like there are times I like her, but for the most part, even with rewatches, I'm like, man, I find you super annoying sometimes.
I can understand that. It's I didn't even think about characters like that, but it makes sense. Someone who's just that little bit more like something's just not right. Something doesn't feel like you would get along with that person.
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's like I've said, if I was in this show, I don't think I could be, I think I could be friend. I don't even know if I could be friends with the group because she's such a core part of it. I'd be like, I'm not even going to do it's either her or me thing, guys. I'll just be a side character. It's okay. It's cool.
Yeah, you float in and then float out of an episode and might show up in the next. It might be 10 episodes down the line before you show back up
Yeah, I show up in season 2 and take most of the spotlight and ruin the season for everybody.
because your Shinibio abilities you constantly say are more overpowered than everybody else's.
Yes, yes, and then knowing my luck when I keep saying I want to be friends with Nibutani, then people start shipping us, and I'm like, all of you collectively suck. But thank you to all of our fans. We love you guys. But like I said, Nibutani, kind of a busybody, a little nosy, can be annoying, but her comforting her, I guess you could say in some cases, one of her sworn enemies. It was a pretty touching moment. I have to give Nibutani props for that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good moment. All right. So my next one.
Please.
So I put Mr. Satan, uh, Befriends Boo in DBZ.
Oh, I love that moment.
So he's at this point like the most annoying character. He's just there. He's kind of that um exaggerated wrestling character. He's um who's come and won the tournament several times and then gets beaten down by Cell, and but yet he's still portrayed as the hero of that moment. The and then but Boo has kind of come out of nowhere. He's the big bad playful character. Well, Mr. Satan manages to befriend him, talk him out of like harming people, and Boo's all excited for his new life, and then it does unfortunately fall apart due to his doggy getting shot and all that. But just overall, though, it's just a nice moment of Mr. Satan. Like he actually could have like if everything had worked out, this would have been the end of the Boo saga. This is like we just end up with Majin Buu being best friends with Mr. Satan with his dog, and that would be it.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had the 50 other mistakes that were made in that arc that made us go, wow, this is super compelling, but at the same time, oh my God, you're all stupid. I love all of you, but you're all stupid. But I can co-sign. Especially because he doesn't even think to himself, oh, I could benefit from this. Oh, I saved the world from Boo, so I can be even bigger. He thinks to himself, okay, I did it. The world is saved. There's still a little bit of ego there, but it is a case of him being like, I did everything I could, and everybody can be safe now.
Yeah, exactly. It's and it kind of leads to like I like Mr. Satan's character better in Super because he knows he's a fraud and he expresses that a lot more. But
Except for
he's
when he punches Goku, and Goku's like, ah, oh, I forgot my trailer. Ah.
yeah, but it's still like a nice, just a really nice moment for a character that at this point was just supposed to be comic relief, but is more annoying comic relief up until this point.
You could argue that out of all the characters who made mistakes in the Boo saga, he wasn't one of them.
Yeah, and I mean it's almost funny because I almost feel like this moment, even though it's has nothing to do with it, is almost when Goku debates fusing with him.
You know, in one of the Dragon Ball Z games I played, hey, in that level, if you Goku and Vegeta meet up, then Goku does the whole, hey man, hey, we need to fuse, and he talks to Vegeta, and they fuse and become Vegito. But if you can't get to Vegeta, Goku finds Hercule, well, Goku and Hercule fuse. It's horrifying.
'Cause isn't it like a spiky afro? I remember seeing it before.
There's one that it's Hercule's face on Goku with an afro and Goku's gi.
Okay.
Apparently, there's a second version, and I didn't see it for years, and then I saw it a couple of weeks ago, and it must have been horrible because I've since blocked it out.
Yeah, that must be the one I've seen. Although I think I've seen all the fusions from that at one point or another.
Yeah, I'd rather not go back and play it, but I feel like if I ever have you guys over, we just might have to just to be like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah.
But yeah, I can co-sign. Mr. Satan was pretty cool befriending Boo, especially considering it could have been like, oh, that's it. We have like 40 more episodes. No, we're done. We're done.
Yeah. All right. So your next one?
All right. Soul Marin lets Yami help Charlotte, Black Clover.
Okay.
So during the elf reincarnation arc, a good majority of the Magic Knights get their bodies invaded by the elves and they get brainwashed. Charlotte being one of them. And when Soul, one of her I don't even know if she's the vice captain, but one of her subordinates, Soul, is trying everything she can to snap Charlotte out of it, but she realizes she's not strong enough. Then Yami shows up and he wants to free Charlotte. Not even because for any reason other than, well, he's just Yami. But Soul doesn't want to do it because she wants to be the one to save Charlotte. She wants to be the one to protect the women in her squad. But when she realizes she can't do it and Yami has a chance, she tearfully says, please save her. It's a good moment of Soul realizing, hey, I can't do anything to help, and if I try, I'm just going to get in the way and more people could be hurt or worse. So her swallowing her pride and letting Yami do his thing and protect Charlotte, I don't know, it said a lot about her. Even if Soul, from what I can tell, she's one of the most unpopular characters, and frankly, I don't blame the fan base for feeling that way.
Is she the one that we see a good bit like traveling with um
Yeah,
Charlotte, or is
Yeah, she's the one who keeps calling Charlotte Char, and she says, "No, call me
okay.
Captain." She absolutely she's a misandrist. She despises men, and it gets old super quick.
Okay. Isn't this the moment that leads to like them accepting like men and then they have this whole thing, well, oh, that's so great because I have a boyfriend. Oh,
I think that might have been the start of it. It's been so long since I've seen the episode itself. But from what I can tell, a lot of the other Blue Roses were the ones who were like, "Oh, I have a boyfriend. Me too. I have a crush on this guy." I don't feel like Soul ever comes out and says anything in regards to that. I might be wrong though. It's been a while since I've seen the episode.
yeah. Isn't Black Clover coming back? I think I heard something about it finally coming back.
I know the manga's coming back in a little bit. As for the anime, I'm not 100% sure. I'm dangerously close to just saying, screw it. Let me just start the manga
Because I know because it's in its final arc, if I remember correctly.
final arc.
Is it a One Piece thing where that means it's going to go on for another 1,000 episodes?
Probably, probably, but I mean, I love Black Clover enough that I wouldn't mind. At the same time, oh yeah, it is getting relatively close to the end. And unpopular opinion, I care more about Asta seeing if Asta becomes Wizard King than seeing who he ends up with.
Yeah, I can understand that.
We'll talk about that point more another day. But Soul just swallowing her pride and saying Captain Yami can save Charlotte like he's done before, and just realizing that, I mean, sure, it's Captain Yami, but sometimes you can let other people help you because it did work out in the end for them.
All right, yeah, I'll co-sign. Again, I've been frozen in the same spot pretty much. I know I'm in the middle of the uh Magic Knights selection exam.
Yeah. Yeah, I could have said something nice about Longress, but no.
I tried to find a moment that I thought of in when I was watching the for this one, but I just couldn't find one for Black Clover that I liked enough.
Yeah, I understand. But that's it. That's all the love I'm giving Soul because otherwise I don't like her.
All right. So my first honorable mention.
Sure.
All right. So this is one that I put on this list only because it's kind of a placeholder because I couldn't think of another one, and it's Ren starts to accept his mistakes and joins Naofumi in the Rising of the Shield Hero.
Okay.
So Ren is one of the other four cardinal heroes. He's the sword hero. He's been kind of arrogant throughout this. He's been one of the more accepting of the three other heroes, like wanting to give Naofumi a chance. But he gets corrupted during one of the arcs where Naofumi's out of the picture, and but he is kind of the first of them to like realize that Naofumi's been pretty much right, and it's kind of his start on redemption. He starts training with one of Naofumi's team members and kind of accepting like, hey, I need to start, I need to rely on people, and he becomes a more reliable person and starts like working with Naofumi, which is like the first big step. The other two come a couple of like the spear hero kind of goes insane, and that's a whole nother thing. And then the shield or the bow hero are like gets even more crazy, and it takes a while to get him on board. So
Wonderful. And you said that he's the sword hero, that he's a bit more on the arrogant side. That's kind of what turned you off a bit at first.
yeah, he's again. I got turned off from a lot of the characters because they all automatically just assumed that Naofumi was this dirtbag after he gets accused of in the first episode of attacking the princess. But he's also got he makes a lot of mistakes. He thinks he knows better than everybody else. Like he kills a dragon but leaves its corpse so it starts rotting and it causes a disease to spread to the village. The dragon wasn't even attacking the village. He just decided that he wanted to go after it. So he went after it, killed the dragon, and left its corpse.
What a douche.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff, but he kind of realizes because then there's a whole arc where they learn like of the dragon's daughter and they go to protect her and start trying to make amends for what he has done. So he's trying to make amends, and that's why I put it on this list. But he's still got his arrogant moments, from what I remember.
Yeah, I can understand that. And it's at least nice to know that even if the redemption doesn't go perfectly, at least he is, in fact, trying. So I'll always give points for that.
Exactly. It's kind of an honorable mention because it's not one big moment. It's more of like the slow progress that he's been going under in the series.
Yeah, I can vibe with that. I can understand. I don't know if I'll ever give Rising of the Shield Hero a chance because I don't know if I can get past that initial first big twist, but it's nice to know that it still has its quality moments.
Yeah. As I said, that's yeah. You have to get past that to be able to enjoy the show, and if you don't, you won't be able to. So,
Yeah, I gotcha.
all right. So your first honorable mention.
All right. Light only goes after criminals at first. Death Note.
Okay.
All right, so look, Light is not a good guy, and you should not ever be trying to advocate that he is a good guy. But when he first gets the Death Note, he does try to have some moral high ground. He only goes after criminals who are still roaming about the world. He doesn't go after criminals who are already in prison or criminals who have already served jail time. Only the ones who the police haven't got or are still committing crimes. At first it makes him seem like so much more of an interesting character because while he's still doing bad stuff, you could do argue he's doing it to people who may deserve it. So at first, like I said, you can understand to an extent where it's like, okay, I can kind of see where he's coming from, but like, so in some senses, I have to give him a little bit of credit because it's like, well, you didn't start off doing completely horrible things, and you're going after criminals who are, well, let's just say, do not seem willing to redeem themselves.
Yeah, I can agree to this. This is one I considered, even though I haven't seen Death Note all the way through. I debated putting on my list just because I knew enough about it to be able to say that. But yeah, his kind of fall is that he kind of gets sucked into his own power, and now it's like, oh, I'm the god of this world.
Yeah, I started a few weeks ago and I'm about halfway through. So some of you might be thinking, well, you don't like Light? What's the deal out? Like, so it's just like, well, he's an honorable mention because I don't know if I hate Light, but I can't say I like him either because there are times where when he's talking to himself and he's coming up with these plans where, well, he sounds kind of ridiculous to the point where it's like, how do people not know it's him?
Yeah, yeah, it's like what has happened. Like I know like vaguely what happens. Has like have we gotten through like the like where people say it should have ended?
Let me put to you this way. I'm at the point where L has started accusing L has started accusing Light. It's like Light. I think you might be Kira, but I'm also not entirely sure. So we're gonna put you in a holding cell for now until we figured out everything. That's where I'm at.
Okay, so okay, I because I know vaguely what is coming, so I'm just like, okay,
Yeah, like as brilliant as he sounds sometimes, there are also times he sounds ridiculous, and it kind of takes me out of it. Now, I will say maybe it is just a case for me of if I was watching this when it first came out, then I'd be more willing to accept it. But now that I'm watching it for the first time now, I'm kind of like, huh, what? You should light. Are you sure that's a good idea? No. Oh, okay, sure, fine. Why not?
Yeah, I've heard. I mean, again, this is one of those that was a staple for I know a lot of people in the early to mid 2000s. So I know it's a classic. So, but I don't know like like the story enough to go, oh, I absolutely hate light, or I don't.
I'm just kind of like he's just sort of there for me. I will say I am fascinated. I do like L. L is actually about as he's a I wouldn't say L is overrated in the slice. I actually think he's kind of a fascinating character.
All right.
Also, shockingly, you've brought her up before. I don't hate Misa nearly as much as I thought I would. I actually find her low-key kind of fascinating.
Hmm. Yeah, because I just from what I've seen, I just would have assumed that you would not have liked her just because she's so obsessed with light. And
I feel more sorry for her because once you learn more about her and just see kind of the person she is, like you don't. It's kind of one of those I want to slap her, but then just pull her like more of a snap out of it sort of thing, and just be like, "Hey, you're okay. Hey." I wouldn't necessarily say I like her, but I can't say I hate her either. She's a conflicting character for me.
okay, all right, yeah, it's uh, this is what I think I watched like the first episode a long time ago and just didn't get into it. So maybe I'll give this one another shot eventually. But
Yeah,
it's just
maybe one day we can talk about it.
yeah, especially because it's one of those that's so hyped up by its fan base to a certain point, and then it disappears. Then
Yeah,
everybody's like, okay, you can stop there.
yeah. Yeah, there are some shows that have gotten super hyped up that I'm just not interested in, and people have gotten upset over that. And I'm not even going to say which one because one of those shows came out a few months ago, and people are going to be upset about it. But I don't know. I want to watch something different because I'm like, well, we're coming up with different videos. I want to make different characters, and I can't. And well, that'll make more sense at another time. But Light having some moral high ground, not a lot, but just some.
Okay, yeah, I'll co-sign. I just don't. I'll have to eventually learn more about Death Note.
Sure,
All right. So my next honorable mention.
please.
So I put Magma saves Senku in Doctor Stone.
Okay.
So Magma is kind of the second major villain that we see in the series. He's the strongman for the village that they I forgot what the village's name is, but it's named after Senku's father. Um, but they pretty much they have a tournament who the strongest gets to lead the village. And so he's the big bad from that. He's annoying because he's kind of the stereotypical jock in the story. And it ends up causing him to like try to beat up uh Senku and all of his friends in the tournament to make sure he wins. So they um but they Senku ends up winning the tournament and becoming the leader of the village. And they have to go get some material from a cave, and the ground gives up. Well, Magma goes out of his way to save Senku, and he starts like accepting science and liking all the advancements Senku's bringing. So it's just kind of a nice moment that Magma gets to uh like throw Senku and save the day, and they come back and save him, and like they kind of get to a nice moment of we accept each other. We're not the same, but we accept each other. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry about that. So I guess I do like the idea that it's like, hey, it's two differing philosophies, but we can still find a way to work together, especially if down the line they do find ways. If it's like it's different, but it's similar to Goku and Frieza being like they're completely different, but when they had to work together, it's like, holy crap, they're working together. Heather, so stuff like that, especially when it's when with Dr. Stone, I could see it being cool.
Yeah, it's just a nice little moment that he like goes out of his way to save Senku. So it's a good moment, but it's an honorable mention because it's just kind of it's not that necessarily big because there would have been something else I'm sure that they could have thought of.
Yeah. Yeah, I would not bring that up. I was like, hey, I helped you guys. I'm like, yeah, but we probably would have come up with something else. Thanks though. Like that would seem a little rude.
Actually, I think they may do that. I don't. It's been a long time since I've seen this scene, but
Oh
that's
my
just kind of
goodness.
who Senku is. Who's like, thank you, but I would have figured it out.
Oh, thanks, but I would have won.
Yeah. So who knows? I don't remember exactly though.
Oh God, if I'm able to guess, do I really need to watch this show at some point? If I'm able to just guess random lines,
Maybe.
maybe someday. But I can go aside. It does seem cool of him.
All right. So your next one.
All right, Crona owns up to corrupting Professor Stein, Soul Eater.
Okay.
All right, so during the period where it looks like Crona may be redeeming themselves, thanks to some arm twisting from Medusa and Eric, they put a component in Marie's drink, which, since she's working with Professor Stein, it also it corrupts Professor Stein, so Medusa could use him to destroy the DWMA. And after some time, Crona does admit, hey, I messed up. Hey, I messed up. Professor Stein is losing his grip on his sanity because of me. And Marie rightfully calls him out for it and says, hey, you're going to do everything you can to help us with that. So I'm not happy that Crona went through with that and got their arm twisted, but it is nice that they were willing to own up at that point and be like, hey, I messed up. I'm the reason. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can agree. It's a big moment, especially for Crona after everything we've seen him go through, where knowing his past of his abuse, to actually own up to something where you know you're going to get in trouble for it is a big moment for someone who's gone through that. Because there, a lot of people who go through that are used to like that hiding it and burying it deep down.
Yeah. That being said, I'm still not a big Crona fan. I just feel like even when they're trying to redeem themselves, for the most part they just whine. And I'm just kind of like, can you do something, please?
It feels like that they were supposed to become like I mean him and was it Ragnarok?
Ragnarok.
Yeah, they should have been like the fourth pair in the with like uh with all the main characters and gone into the final battle as a member of that, but they just kind of like they had their big moments at the start of the series and then just kind of disappear after this pretty much.
Yeah, and then you just see them and they're hanging out with the teachers in Excalibur talking about, oh, the final battle. We can't go out there and help the kids. Why? Because it's their destiny and this is what they're going through. Yeah, but why? What if they die? Well, it's the last episode. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're gonna change the ending. Is it better than the manga?
Eh,
Eh?
we can't decide. We can't decide. All right, hey, you two over there. What are your names? Alex, Richard. Can you guys come up with a better ending? Better? Yes. Good? No, probably not.
Yeah, can we have another 100 episodes and then come to the ending? We can
Sure.
get we'll go the long way around.
You guys want to be in the show? Yes. You want to voice act? Sure. Too bad. Oh, honestly, I would take it.
Yeah, it'd be funny.
Yeah, but I'm not the biggest fan of Chrono whining and complaining like a good 95% of the time they're on screen, but them owning up to what they did is cool. And as sick as I'm gonna sound for saying this, I appreciate that Marie didn't let them off the hook. It's like, no, no, you messed up. You're gonna pay for it. You have to help us.
Yeah, but they're held accountable, but they accept that, and that's the part that I like in this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. So let's move on. Let's move on. I get in enough trouble for being mean to Crona, for being justifiably mean to Crona. Let's move on.
All right. So my last honorable mention is Mayuri helps the main characters in Mundo in Bleach.
Okay.
So this is just kind of a funky moment because and the reason it's an honorable mention is that he's actually doing research. Uh, I forgot exactly how, but he's like learning some of the Irankar's abilities, and he comes in and helps save the day. And this guy, but I forgot what his name is, has like the ability to take over other beings and absorb their strengths and stuff. Well, he's already invented all this stuff. The defeat this thing, and he gets it's he's still kind of annoying in this moment, which is like that, but he's also still his cruel self. So there's just a lot with this moment. Like it's a big moment because he comes in and helps save Renji and some of the other main characters, but he also like really does a lot of like kind of evil stuff. Like he's been like, oh yeah, I've been monitoring y'all for like days now in Kabuto. I know all of their abilities. I've got this. And he just wipes the one off the map.
I gotta give Bleach credit because they have some ridiculously weird, strange, bizarre abilities, but in a sense, I guess it makes it so it's interesting. So I can kind of co-sign on to that. But that being said, sometimes the powers get ridiculous enough. I can kind of understand why you'd be like, this I don't know about this guy.
Yeah, because having the giant baby butterfly caterpillar Zanpakuto is just sort of weird.
It's like season 3 of Shaolin Showdown when it comes to the Shangon Wu. It's just like, well, we already have these things that make us grow, that make us invisible. Let's just start getting weird with this stuff.
Let's not even get into when they changed all the names in the reboot series.
In the show's defense, the reason is because of copyright, because another company owned the rights to it. At the same time, just come up with different Shangon Wu. What? Want us to
It
talk
will
about
always
Shaolin?
be the Orb of Tonami.
We can talk about Shaolin Showdown another day, and I never thought I'd ever say that.
I'm okay with that. I would do a video on it.
Sure. Sure. But I can co-sign. It seems like he did the right thing in that moment, even if you're still not his biggest fan.
Yeah, it's you still see his cruelty, but he comes to the rescue of some of our main characters. So it's just kind of a lot all at once.
Yeah, I can co-sign.
All right. So your final honorable mention?
All right. Kusuke, he encourages Saiki to take his powers back. Saiki K.
Okay.
All right, so when Saiki loses his powers and finally gets rid of them, he seems happy at first, even though he really isn't, because he's used to chaotic life at this point and his friends. But when there's a meteor headed to Earth, Kusuke tells Saiki, "Hey, there's a meteor headed to Earth, so you might want to do something about it." And Saiki says, "Well, I don't have my powers anymore." He's like, "Yeah, fun fact about that: your powers aren't gone; they're kind of just off right now. I know things were not easy for you, and I had a lot to do with that. At the same time, though, there's still people out there who care about you and who you've grown to care about. So." You might want to take care of that meteor, because if you don't, well, I mean, I have a suit that we could send Dad up to do it in, but I don't know if he'd survive. It's like, yeah, I'll just take my powers back. I got this. For all the weird moments and just the bad torment that they went through with each other, it was nice to see that Kusuke was like, deep down, I know you're happier with your powers, and also, it's kind of an ultimatum because if you don't, we're all gonna die.
Yeah, 'cause this is his brother, right? I think you
Yes,
said
his
that,
older
right?
brother.
Yeah, and who's always jealous of his powers or something, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I've seen these.
Oh, it's not. It's that, but it's also a case of whenever his psyche beats him in the game, Kusuke gets a little too excited about it because he's a lot
Okay, yeah, I'll co-sign. I because you finished this.
masochistic. That's the word.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think I've only seen like the first episode that he's in the series where he because isn't that one in England or is that
That
this episode?
no, that's correct.
Okay. Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, again, I a long time. I mean, 2018 was the last time I saw any episodes of this. It's been
I'm
a
not
long
going to
time.
pretend like I know what year it is. It's okay.
Yeah. So like more than half a decade of since I've seen any of these. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll co-sign.
Still, it was a cool moment for him to kind of just encourage to actually help his little brother as opposed to, well, what he'd been doing for the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, because it had been pretty much just he shows up, causes some sort of issue, and then uh in the end, Psyche wins, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or when he insulted Kaido and he's like, hey, that secret power you have, let me see it. Come on. You have it, don't you? And just tortures Kaido throughout it. And then he insults Nendo's mom by saying that she has a funny belly button, despite the fact that I don't think he's ever seen. Never mind.
All right. I I don't know. I need to watch Saiki K because it's just a funny show.
Yeah, you don't. I'm just saying, you don't insult a man's mother's belly button. That's just a line you don't cross.
Nope, it is not.
What? What's your last one? What's your whatever?
So, so this is a relatively recent one, but it's Monoma copies Aizawa Eraserhead's powers in uses it to help set up the final battle in My Hero.
Okay.
So Monoma is kind of the obnoxious one from the other class of freshman superheroes, and he's always like, "We're better than y'all," and even though they have are like next to screen time, but his power is where he just copies someone else's ability, and uh he becomes this big part of the final point of the final battle where he is copying Eraserhead uh his power because Eraserhead got severely injured in the previous battle where he lost an eye, and his power requires him to make eye contact with whoever he's well, not eye contact. He has to be looking at the person that he's using his power on. Since he's down an eye, he's severely handicapped by that. So they have Monoma sitting there touching Aizawa with a water-based hero keeping his eyes moist so that they can disable the powers of this one is All for One in uh, Shigaraki's body. So it's kind of a weird moment in the series because they're like pretty much the bad guys are becoming these giant kaiju almost monsters, and he's got to just pretty much stop their powers from working.
Still, I do like the idea that's like, hey, he's touching him, but he's also keeping his eyes hydrated. I do like that. That actually sounds like a really cool strategic moment.
Yeah, and it shows like when someone who you thought is just going to be the side annoying character who shows up and just to make an obnoxious comment and annoy the main cast has this tactical like spot in the final battle and like where we have to use him. He's the only one who can copy the power and use it correctly. So they have this whole moment where like the days leading up, he's training, learning how to control the power so that he can use it for extended periods as much as possible. So it's just a really weird moment of like, wow, this annoying character was actually like crucial to the final battle.
Huh. Yeah, that's really cool. Well, I don't think I've ever heard of this character before. Even when I looked up a picture, I'm kind of like, huh, I don't recognize this character because I at least know, like if you gave me a list of my hero characters just based on the image, I think I could pick out which one's which. Okay, this one's Deku, this one's Todoroki, this one's All for One. Like I could probably do that, but this is a guy I'm like, huh, this is the one I know.
Yeah, yeah. He's also designed to look like just this blonde student. Like he has kind of almost the bowl cut look. Like he, I don't know which one. Like he's either in the school uniform or his hero costume is like a old fashioned tuxedo.
Yeah. It's like, God, it's like Hero from Soul Eater and Shoji from Windmaker fused into one and made this.
Okay.
You remember Hero, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, it's just yeah, it's just one of those moments of like I don't know. But he is really annoying. He's been annoying since we met him in season two. So I just find it hilarious that they gave him such a crucial role in the final battle.
Well, it'll be nothing compared to when Usopp destroys Blackbeard at the end of One Piece, so just keep that in mind.
It's gonna be so funny because I think I could see him making it so that Usopp gets credit for like taking out like all the other like Sanji and Zoro take out all of the captains that work under Blackbeard, but Usopp gets all the credit. So in the end, it's Luffy, Usopp, Sanji, Zoro or Zoro Sanji. It's
Oh
just,
my God.
somehow Usopp's going to end up as the second highest bounty in the world.
No, what's worse is going to be when Sanji and Zoro are both tied and they're both trying to outdo each other to see, okay, who can get higher.
And that, but I could see them chasing Usopp around the ship just because his bounty's so much higher than theirs.
I'd love to sophomore One Piece at some point.
It'd be hilarious.
Yeah. That being said, though, it seems like this guy from My Hero, like, yeah, he does sound severely annoying, but even I have to admit that the strategy he implemented, it seems pretty impressive.
Yeah. All right. So your final one?
Sure. I really don't want to give this girl any credit, but I guess I have to for the sake of this video. Haru gives up on Raku, Nisakoi.
Okay.
Okay, so I've talked about the four main girls from Nisekoi, Chitoge, Onodera, Sugumi, and Marika, and how, even at their worst, I can still find them relatively enjoyable. Well, Haru Onodera, who's the one of the main girls, Kosaki's younger sister, is not likable. She's a third tsundere in this show who really didn't need to exist. Yeah, I see that look on your face. I'm not. Hey, I didn't like her either. She's up. She shows up in the middle of. She shows up at the beginning of season two. She's obnoxious, and she's not a pleasant person to be around. But of course, she realizes that Raku's not that bad of a guy, and she falls in love with him because that's what has to happen to almost every girl in this show. But she also kind of thinks to herself, Kosaki really, really likes him, and she's been in love with him since they were in middle school. And I just sort of showed up. So in a bit of maturity, she kind of realizes that she doesn't need to be here. Like she kind of realizes maybe they would be happy together, and she kind of quietly gives up on him. Considering how much I hated this girl, and I still do, I'm not taking my foot off her neck. But she has that one moment kind of made me go, okay, you did something pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds like a nice one, especially for a tsundere to be able to turn around and say, I I'm not the one that you need to be with, kind of thing. Because that doesn't seem like most tsunderes would do that. They would still fight to like, regardless of how they actually felt.
Yeah. The one thing that does kind of ruin it is it does kind of feel like it's just like, hey, I just give like one chat like she just sort of gives up at one point. Meanwhile, Sugami giving up on him kind of feels like it's built up to. And like I said, it's got to the point where I'm like, dang, Sugami, I am so sorry. You deserved better. But Haru kind of is just like, all right, I give up. We have like what 20 chapters left. All right, I'm done. But it was still a definitive. It was still a good moment where it made me go, okay, respect.
Yeah, yeah. Especially to be like you said, the third tsundere in a show.
The third one.
Because a lot of times they bring a second tsundere in because there's either the first one's kind of like started to change or there's something like there's different kind of aspects to tsundere and they bring in one that's more violent tsundere rather than uh like just emotionally abusive tsundere. But to bring in a third, it's like how many versions of the same character do you want to bring in?
The worst part is, like, you could argue they should have stopped at two because the second tsundere Sugami is where I'm kind of like, okay, I don't love that she's a tsundere, but I actually would say that she's the best character on this show. And unfortunately, there are times where that's not saying a whole lot. Sometimes there is, but sometimes I'm kind of like, man, you're the best character. Her, and it to the point where a good majority of people have admitted, yeah, in hindsight, she probably should have won. I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
We ready
but,
to close out?
Yeah, but to close out, Haru, you did a good thing. You're safe for now.
For that one nice moment.
Yes, but you also did a bunch of other stuff, so you gained 1 point for that, but you also sucked for the rest of the series, so you're at like -4 points right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but ready to close out?
Yep.
All right, so ladies, gentlemen, Cronas, what do you guys think? Who are some anime characters who you do not like, but had some moments that made you go, okay, that was pretty cool of you?
And do do you find the moments that we picked out for our characters that made them kind of redeemed for at least a moment acceptable? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Let us know.
Yeah. Do you like Richard's new chair that he's sitting in? Maybe just comment on that too.
It's temporary until I get my actual setup back over here.
Yeah, but just anything that you guys want to let us know about. Just like I said, like it's hard to defend. It's hard to defend characters you hate, which is why this list was a little bit on the more difficult side. But we wanted to challenge ourselves, and hopefully you guys appreciated that.
Yep. And if you have any new ideas, please let us know. We're always looking for new ideas.
That's correct. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we'll see you next time. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you have been listening to Anime Egotists. Good night, and peace easy.